All right, another example of using variables with conditions. This one's going to be a little more involved, a few extra lines than the other ones we've shown you so far. What I want to add here is when the player touches the potion, instead of jumping their life right back to 100, I'd like the life to just increase by a little bit, like 1, and it goes back up to 100. Now, I also want to give the potion a potion level, so that if the level of the potion goes down, then the potion eventually destroys itself. It's been all used up. Okay, so let's start with part 1 of this. Player hits the potion. Right now we just go life equals 100. I'm just going to change this so instead the life goes up by 1. Now we know what that'll do, but I'm going to add a little extra here. I'm going to say if the life of our player, because we're coding inside the player, is under 100, then you can take some life. Okay, and add by 1. Now this should work, but what you'll notice, little damage. Oh, this lets me go to 101. And I say to myself, oh, maybe my condition wasn't perfect. So I go back and say, oh yeah, that's right. I can't have them equal to 100 and still add 1. I just want to be under 100 if I'm going to be adding 1. You'll find this a lot when you're coding. You'll do little things like that. Always test the program. Make sure it works. Now, let's say I'm confident that that's going to work. There's the issue of the potion running out. So let's add that in to the potion object. I'm going to give the potion object a new variable. So create. I'm going to give it a variable called amount. And let's just start it off with like 80. This will be fast to test. I don't want to make it 800 and then to test this out I got to run and run and run forever. So we'll be able to use that up quickly. Now that the potion has this amount variable, I can go back to the player object. Potion. If the life is under 100, life equals life plus 1. Now, I can't actually do that unless there's some potion left. So what I'm going to do here is actually put an if statement inside an if statement. This is totally allowed. The way it works is if life is bigger than 100, you do whatever's between these curly braces. Whatever you put between here can be as complex as you want. So I'm just going to ask another question in here. I'm going to say if. Now, I want to check the potion level. If the potion level is bigger than 0, I'm going to do something. But some of you are probably already saying to yourself, amount. Who owns this variable? Not the player. Since the player doesn't own this variable, you can't just use this variable here. You're going to get some sort of error. It says, don't know what that is. The amount variable belongs to the potion. In this event right now, collides with potion. The potion is the other object. So you can actually do this. This is one way to do it, is say if, hey, other object, which is the potion, if your amount variable is bigger than 0, do the following code. And the following code is going to be make the life go up by 1, and this is player life because we're coding in the player, and other, make your amount variable go down by 1. Now, this will work. Let's give it a quick test. I'll close that curly brace off. Now hopefully you see the flow here. Less than 100 life gets us into this section. Once we're in there, we ask about the potion level. So a lot of little tricky things here. This is the kind of stuff that once you see more of it and you get used to it, you'll do a lot of this in your coding. Now, the potion never actually destroys itself yet. Okay, we'll handle that in a second. Okay, but let's just see this working. Take a little damage. I gain back. I go take some more damage. Now this should run it out. Yeah, see, potion ran out. No more getting the potion. So, again, life less than 100. Then I check if the potion has some potion in it. If the amount's bigger than 0, then I can add 1 to my life and take 1 off the amount of the potion. Now, if you wanted to in here, you could even ask a little more. You could ask another question like, if the potion's totally out, destroy it. If you actually wanted to see that happening, this may start to look a little ugly here, but we can ask another if statement in here. We just took out something out of the potion. Let's ask if it's out. Now, I can do this another way. I can say if other dot amount is less than or equal to 0 with other instance destroy. Now, you're probably saying to yourself, this is looking crazy. And you're right, because we're just sort of adding this on the fly here. It's maybe a little messier than it has to be, but the logic works nice. If you're under 100, do this. If there's some amount, do that. And if the other amount is less than 0, do this. Now, I'm just going to retype a slightly different way to do this here. When I look at this code and I see other, with other, all of this whole big chunk here is all being done with the other. I can actually rewrite this probably to make it a little more cleaner now that I see the sort of mess I've gotten into there. Once I know the other amount's bigger than 0 and I give the player life, what I can do here is, and I'll just retype this, I'm going to say with the other object, and since now I've used the with statement, with the other object, amount equals amount minus 1. Okay, so that's going to be affecting the potion. This statement, seeing if the potion's out, I can just say if amount. You have to remember, this code is now running inside of the potion. So the potion is saying to itself, drop my amount by 1. If my amount is less than 0, you don't need this because you're inside. And there you go. A little bit better looking, and I even think we get to take out, no, maybe that's it. So if my life's less than 100, do that. If the other is greater than 0, do that. With the potion, drop its amount. It asks itself if it's under 0, and if it is, it destroys itself. When I give this a quick test, this should work. And we should see the potion drain itself. So I'm just going to go all the way down. Uh-oh. That wasn't very good. Let's try that again. Forgot we had that addition in there. I get the 22. I go back up. Get a little bit more. Now I'm going to be... The potion will be all drained. Yeah. And it destroyed itself. So it works nice. Now if you found that one a little tricky, understandable, the first time beginners see this, some of them start to think, oh my goodness, is all my code going to look like that? There's ways we can make this look better that we'll learn about. But yes, sometimes it is nice to ask an if statement inside of another if statement, and even another if statement in that if statement. So, you know, once you practice this a bit, you'll get used to the logic. And as long as you line stuff up neatly, use your indentation, you know, it should actually flow pretty nicely and work for you. Thanks for watching. Now, I'm sure you're ready to try some modifications of your own on some of your programs now.